Disgusted and scared. That's the reaction from residents after they were told one of the city's biggest public housing estates will be demolished.
Where am I going to go?
We will, in the end, be shafted. And we don't want to be shafted. We want to be included.
In 2015, without warning, thousands of public housing residents in Waterloo, Sydney, hear about a massive redevelopment plan for their neighbourhood.
What the hell is going on?
Waterloo is crying out for renewal.
In the new Waterloo, just 30% of homes will remain public housing. The rest will be sold off at sky-high Sydney prices.
It must be awful for a developer to see a bit of land with nothing on it. You know, it's terrible. Such a waste. Such a waste.
The future is going to be owned, isn't it, by rich people?
Thousands of tenants will be relocated, while over 2,000 government-owned homes face the wrecking ball. All over the globe, public housing is under siege.
What paint are you using? Oh, you're using...
Fearing they'll be ignored, Waterloo tenants look for ways to resist.
I can tell you now there'll be about 3,000 people sitting in here and they're going to have to carry us out.
Keen to preserve their colourful neighbourhood, local creatives join the fight. Among them, the makers of this film.
One more, sing that.
Together, they pitch an improbable idea to the tenants. An artwork that will transform the two tallest towers of the estate into beacons of light.
How's that going to make anyone feel better?
Proclaiming locals' existence and their fight to the world.
It's good to have ambitions. Well done.
And daring the government to demolish a work of art.
Oh, fabulous, isn't it? Oh, gorgeous.
From the unlikely centrepiece of the battle for Waterloo.
Front page. That's Henry.
A lightning rod that will shake the state government.
They're shit scared that this is an issue that's going to cost them election.
And both divide and unite a city and a community.
I think it's okay to move them out.
The Minister's instructions were to shut down Saturday night show.
This development I can't see being stopped.
Bulldoze the shithole.
Fuck you, dickhead.
There shall be lights.
They're only a public bureaucracy. They're not the fucking mind police.
Beautiful.
Waterloo, just 3 kilometres from downtown Sydney, has the highest concentration of public housing in the inner city. It's the front line of urban renewal. A place where the haves and the have-nots make for uneasy neighbours, as the forces of gentrification rapidly gain ground.
It was a golden opportunity to get more social housing, but mixed in with private housing. It's going to be a pretty interesting and exciting time for all of us over the next few years as we try and renew and energise what has been an aged and problematic in some ways estate at Waterloo.
The Waterloo Public Housing Action Group is made up of locals and their supporters. It works to unite an often divided community against the development. Richard Weeks is chairman. 7 years ago, he moved into this housing commissioned flat to care for his dying mother. A former teacher and military man, he's not used to opposing authority. But it's a different story now.
This is our home, this is our community. We're not going to give up without a fight.
Never, ever go to war unless people attack your own home front. In Waterloo, I'm fighting a war now that's on our own front.
This is not about redevelopment, this is about social cleansing.
Though none of them has ever made art on this scale, Richard and a core group of tenants commit to the We Live Here Light project. Their aim, to save their community and become a powerful voice in the transformation of Waterloo.
Are you ready?
They have 3 months to raise money for lights, install them, and organise a high-profile launch.
Thanks, Mum. See ya.
But first, they must convince more than half of Matavai and Turanga Tower's 500 mostly elderly residents to collaborate.
It's so big.
Wow.
That is really good.
Sell. What's that? Is that the Russian one?
Yeah.
That must be the Russian.
Yeah.
Oh, different, multilingual.
Yes.
Yeah, we did them in, I think, 3 different languages. Are you guys going to deliver them into the mailboxes, or are you going to...
No, we're going to go door to door. Meet them all,
each one.
Hey, baby. How are you?
Bex McCorkadale was raised in Waterloo and is bringing up 4 kids in public housing.
That's a good idea.
Her flat is zoned for redevelopment.
We're going to be delivering flyers to let people know that they can have their houses in colourful LED lights to show the government that there are actually people living here.
A trainee chef looking for work. She knows this neighbourhood better than most.
New Year's, we all came up here and we all got drunk and watched the fireworks. I think growing up here, it makes you not such a judgmental person. I think that will really help working in the Twin Towers because you don't know their story, you don't know what they're going through, but they know that you live here too, so you're a part of the community, they're more likely to accept you. And once it all gets done, it's going to look amazing. It's definitely going to attract a lot of attention.
So it's a matter of exploring the emotion side by lighting up their windows every night.
Mary Lowmore, a single mother of 4, holds down 3 part-time jobs. She has been in Waterloo public housing for 10 years and is fired up about making art with her community.
It's all about touching, feeling people in appropriate manner, obviously, but just the fact that... Yeah, don't worry, I won't try anything on you. This community has taught me a lot, culturally, spiritually, since the announcement. I can feel the energy has changed a lot in our community.
I think it's going to look fabulous, isn't it?
Yes.
If that gets up and running. Because, you know, yeah, it's a little bit ugly. A lot of things are a bit ugly. I don't get why it has to be damned because of that.
But to hundreds of residents facing an uncertain future, art's not an easy sell.
Here to talk to you about putting in some lights in your window for the light display. Okay, thank you. You stand there stark naked.
You want to do it?
No. What about him?
I am dying.
G'day, brother. How are you? This is what the building will look like, with the tenants putting on different coloured lights.
Oh, yeah, all right. That looks all right. But how's that going to make anyone feel better?
It's just showing people that you do live here and you matter and you're all sticking together. So a personal statement, so you're going, I'm here.
All right, you can do it. Now, what colour are you going to give me?
No, this has all colours on it.
Well, I'll put it up here because every time I open the door, I can see it.
Here, give us a hug, old bastard. G'day, Vince. Richard Weeks, mate.
Yeah, it'd be great if it all looks like that.
Oh, I will. Can you convert neighbours?
I got Phil in number 2.
Phil. Yeah. Richard Weeks, mate. How are you? Reserved this date on the 9th. Be a movie down in the community room, then filming the castle. You ever seen the movie? About an Aussie being kicked out of his home.
Oh, yeah. Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton, yeah.
Yeah, top movie.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Really
I
good.
loved it.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to Bonnie Doon. That's a good,
Yeah.
The team have no money to pay for the lights. They've applied for a council arts grant, but with so much to do, they charge ahead.
Lights on your window. Free. Do you want to? Yeah. All right, thank you. Too easy.
Waterloo sits next to Redfern, Sydney's Aboriginal heartland, and a crucible of Indigenous protest.
I don't teach my children white culture, I teach my children black culture because that's what will sustain them.
Jenny Monroe is a Wiradjuri elder and has been an activist for over 40 years.
One of my biggest lessons in life was the embassy in 1972 at Canberra. We are treated like aliens in our own land by this system that came here. So that's why they set the embassy up and called it an embassy. It's the longest protest site in the world.
Jenny joins Waterloo's resistance, and the action group set up their own tent embassy on Waterloo Green.
It'll be run on our rules, but it'll be for everybody. So they got to learn how to be loud and raw, so nobody will not hear them.
The tent embassy occupation becomes the focus of the tenants' fight back.
You have to plan for the long game, not I'm going to be a meteor in the night sky for 1 or 2 nights and then I'm gone. No. We want to be a moon in the sky, there every night.
The only people outside of the community here that ever put their hand up to come and help us were the traditional owners of this land, the ones who lost their land in the first place. They lost it through the white men and now they're coming back here to help us to save our homes.
The same people that support the tent embassy also get behind the art project.
Looking up at those buildings now, I can just picture it, dark with glowing lights. The celebration of their life and probably a kind of funeral for the idea of social welfare.
Catherine Skipper, a writer and former teacher, moved into Matavai Tower when faced with homelessness 8 years ago. She moonlights as a protest artist.
This future age city that they're constructing is one based strictly on how much income you have. And in the end, I think it will deprive the city of a good deal of creativity and life. Now, everything has to be making a profit. Otherwise, it's not viable. And if it's not viable, it can't be acceptable as a project. And I think that public housing will eventually be eliminated if possible, or shifted to maybe the Nullarbor Plains. It's probably be a good place for poor people to live. People are striving to have privilege and they're really just finding nice-sounding ways of reducing the right of others to the future.
The people united will never be defeated. Housing is a human right.
All around the world, governments and developers are reimagining inner-city neighbourhoods without the urban poor.
Fuck gentrification, fuck the rich, fuck the police, fuck art, fuck everything. We must love and support each other.
Like in many places, one of the first signs of change in Waterloo is the hipster cafe.
I think it was about a year ago, they were like, yeah, we're doing it. We're getting a train station, a light rail, you know, it's gonna be amazing. If you want to succeed in life, you will succeed. And I've worked solidly my entire life, and I feel anyone that doesn't try to work and expects to be given stuff, like cheap rent and all that, I just don't agree with it. To live in this area, the amount of rent you pay or to buy a house, it's astronomical. At the moment, I can't even afford to live in the area. I think it's okay to move them out. Like, it's, at the end of the day, it is government land. They are paying not much money to be in a very up-and-coming popular area.
Well, we've sold a lot of property for Department of Housing Commission property since about 2005. As time goes on, obviously with the recent announcement of the Waterloo Metro line, We're seeing new buyers enter our market that weren't previously interested in Waterloo because of the Housing Commission. Basically, people would come and they'd look across here and they said, oh, we heard this is all changing. 1.81 million for that property, huge result in the scheme of things. Now, there's nothing in this area in a terrace that's worth under $1 million.
Dozens of developers are already transforming Waterloo all around the public housing zone. Only one agrees to talk, anonymously.
Buildings do have an expiry date. For councils and governments, they don't have the capabilities internally to carry out such a large development, and they also don't have the risk appetite either. It's about getting access to great sites like this, purchasing them off the government, paying a high price, and then coming up with a scheme, getting that endorsed and ticking the box that the community has been consulted. Their main operation of business is to return as much as possible to their investors. So there's a huge amount of strategy from the developers' side just to simply make sure that they minimise the noise that comes out of that consultation.
The Tent Embassy diplomats have been making noise under the towers for 8 weeks. Occupied day and night, the campsite attracts a lot of attention.
We've had quite a lot of trouble, especially over the last 8 days, and most of those trouble we've had has been from Aboriginal people, drunks and drug addicts.
But some of the Tent Embassy visitors are uneasy about the way Richard talks to them.
Yeah, I did say that. I said, you can't fight the 40,000-year syndrome or the invasion because that's yesterday. We can't do anything about that.
Richard's, he comes from a particular generation and he's got a particular mindset because of the generation he comes from. He's very naive in a lot of things about Aboriginal politics in this country.
It's the first item on the agenda at the next Action Group meeting.
We're going to declare the meeting open at 4:30 p.m. Okay. Activities at the Tent Embassy.
We have to move forward together, don't we?
What we've also got to acknowledge, this isn't our land. This is Aboriginal land.
We don't like the language sometimes.
No, I don't either.
I've had to bite my tongue a couple of times, and I never bite my tongue when I'm dealing with the redneck. I tell them up front.
Not everyone thinks the same way.
Why don't you discuss it? I'm just going to collect my thoughts and make my decision what I'm going to do. I don't need division.
So he's
up. Let's embargo the bad behaviour, all right? There's no violence down there, there's no drugs and there's no alcohol. I would also suggest there be no racism down there.
Jenny, I'm down there 7 days a week.
I know
7
that,
days a
Richard.
week.
I know that.
And some very long hours for the last 8 weeks. Without even saying a word. I've been called a white bastard. I've been called, this is our country, I'll do what I want here. I mean, you don't even have to provoke it.
With their vision of uniting black and white against the redevelopment in jeopardy, Jenny and the Action Group decide to pull down the Tent Embassy.
We really didn't do what we were intended to do. What would you put it down to, the battle of human nature? I don't know.
The Light Project is now the most visible protest against Waterloo's redevelopment.
We need to put a light in every window, which is one way of looking at it, but I think, what are we trying to kind of do here? Like, what's our end goal?
Jamie is a local digital entrepreneur. He brings the tools of middle management to the cause. A brainstorm on the logistics of protest art.
It represents community connections.
We can work together as public and private residents to fight for justice, as well as solidarity.
Jamie and his partner Jackie bought a house in Waterloo 10 years ago when it was a bargain.
The day we moved in, we got a bit of an introduction to the neighbourhood and being told that, you know, we were kicking the original inhabitants out. And
then there was one person that was quite adamant that the whole suburb was being gentrified and taken over by yuppies.
For Jamie, the art project is a chance to remake the image of Waterloo.
It's like they were this dark place and people
still have that brand. I think in their head, when they look at the buildings, they're kind of like, oh, it's the suicide towers. You know, that's where like a whole lot of really messed up people live that jump off them every now and then. And I think that this, in a way, is kind of a cleansing ceremony, or just a way of refreshing that and going, oh, wow, like, you know, oh, there's a whole lot of people there that are jumping off and they're lighting the windows up and trying to talk to us.
40 years ago, the towers were part of a bold egalitarian vision designed by the government's best architects to house the city's poorest in decent homes.
It would be a pocket well planned for low-income earners, not just for today, but for long after I'm dead and gone.
Looks glorious. The utopia of tomorrow.
Not everyone embraced the utopia of tomorrow.
The most important thing is that we do not allow a totalitarian bureaucracy done in the name of what is good for you take over unquestioningly.
In the 1970s, the government cleared hundreds of terraces to make way for high-density public housing.
It was this redevelopment mentality. There was nothing wrong with our terraces.
We'll have to be evicted. We'll have to go in the paddy wagon.
The Queen raised the curtain on Waterloo's towers during the 1977 Royal Jubilee Tour. The new skyline took some getting used to.
It has affected my privacy terribly. You'll come up the yard and you'll always think you've got this feeling someone's watching you from way up top. It's an awful feeling.
The toilet's also in the yard, isn't it?
Yeah, the toilet. You open the door, they could see right in. Right in the door.
40 years on, while fighting to save the neighbourhood, Action Group leader Richard is facing a battle of his own. He's waiting on test results.
Gail, that's my daughter. Hello, darling. Don't know. It's serious enough for them to pick up the shadows on my lungs. I don't want to ask any questions till I get the results, otherwise I'll just lose sleep over it.
No, I won't keep you.
Okay, love. Okay.
I love you, Dad.
Bye, I love you.
Later.
Bye. Yeah, just make yourself comfortable, folks.
The decision about the grant for the lights is due today. Richard calls a meeting to update the art project team.
First, I'm going to give you the bad news. Over the last few months, you know, I've had some medical problems. And in the process of this, they discovered that I have got cancer in my right lung. At the moment, I'm living off one lung. I want to continue on as I'm doing. I want no pity, no sympathy from anybody. Because if you do, you'll make an enemy real quick. However, this morning I was contacted by City Council, and the funding for We Live Here 2017 has been granted. And I believe this to be a very powerful statement for Waterloo, and I'm going to stick with this if it's the last thing I ever do. The family that I've met down in Waterloo is the best medicine I can have. Thank you.
You know how to fucking blow people over, mate. Make sure we get a victory within a certain time frame now, and not puts a limit on everything, doesn't it?
I want to finish this. I started something and I want to finish it.
He's got this completely unreal expectation. He could be dead in 6 fucking months. This is not worth his life, but he seems to think it is. I've seen my old people when they're ready to die. I know what the signs are. And he doesn't understand. The signs are hovering around him.
The lights, very exciting. We have these arriving today.
To turn these towers into works of art, at least 300 ageing tenants need to open their doors and join the fight. It's a chance for Mary, Bex and Richard to get to know their neighbours in ways they never imagined.
Every day, little bit exercise, less medicine.
Doesn't it?
Very good. I learned my chi.
Your chi. What colour do you feel like today?
Anything.
There, see?
See, I can come exercise.
Yes. That's it, high five. Thank you.
The redevelopment has created a cloud of uncertainty across the estate. Struggling to understand the timeline, Rosita has started to pack.
2016, they told me make ready, make down this one 2016. That's why all my things is in the boxes now, so I think so.
How do you feel when they said that to you?
I feel sorry.
You feel very sad?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know where you're going?
No. They told me, just I wait. That's why sometimes I'm very sick, worries everything like that.
Oh, that's not good. All those people, they can see the whole building?
Yeah.
All at Matavai, the people who have the lights? Yeah. You do that. And I'm sure somebody will see you. Yeah, that one.
Thank you very much. I'm happy. Maybe I'm not sick now. I'm not sick.
I mean, starting here, this is all me.
We'll set it up.
So do whatever you have to do, Mary.
Yep, sure. Thanks, Edward. I'll just see where the,
Before he needed public housing, Ed was a successful model and antique dealer.
I call these the good old days. I mean, I've always had ambition, and I'm going to be very honest with you. I have not really thrived here. Redevelop Waterloo for what and for who? Not for the common man. We will, in the end, be shafted. And we don't want to be shafted. We want to be included. Everyone wants to be able to raise their children properly, educate them, help prepare them for a future. But is that what's happening here?
How many do you need to go?
Good question.
11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
I myself came into this community not really understanding what community meant.
Is it?
The beauty of Waterloo is that it's like a small town in a big city, basically. All right, to come in, Rudy? We're going to do this window right here. Is that okay?
Did I turn it off? Yeah. Yeah, okay.
You turned that off?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want Sahara to move?
I sit on the bed, yeah. I'll sit on the bed.
Okay, you can watch us, make sure we do our job
Gotta
properly.
be careful not to fall down.
My heart goes out to all the residents, no matter what background you come from. They either, separated from their family, they're disconnected from their cultural community. They found solace in coming here.
That looks good. Green looks, they all look good. That's nice, yeah.
We're born as humans to be in a group. We can't be really alone. It's not really in our DNA.
Bye-bye.
So to see people that are either left out by choice or circumstances, it's hard for me to see that.
Oh, yeah, one there. The pink one. So we saw 3 lights. Mom, there's another one.
Can you picture all those lights and all the windows on both towers?
I can't picture anything.
Oh, look, 2 more up there.
Where?
Oh, 3. Woohoo!
3. Oh, you changed it.
I feel safe here because this is my new beginnings with my family.
Like most public housing tenants, Mary didn't always need the government to put a roof over her head. But 10 years ago, after escaping a violent relationship, she hit rock bottom.
It was the most unpredictable day I've ever lived. My son was just turned a year. My oldest daughter was 2. I remember we were just about to reverse out of the flat. We noticed that there were, I think, 2 police cars and 1 unmarked car, and then right then and there, they told me to undo my kids in the car seat and put them in the unmarked car. Basically, I had my crying child go get whisked away in an unmarked car. And I seriously just wanted to kill myself then and there. Being in the relationship that I was, they considered me as a bad parent.
It was Mary's Housing Commission house in Waterloo that gave her the stability she needed to get her children back 1 year later.
I'll never forget that though. Just eating heaps of 2-minute noodles and establishing myself, Mary in Waterloo.
Public housing was built for people on low incomes. But as housing stock shrinks and needs grow, they are now home to many battling illness and addiction.
All right. Do you mind if I use your water just to wet that?
Yeah, be careful because there's some liquids in the kitchen.
Okay.
I just got out of a psych ward. I was treated mentally unstable.
You just got to take it one day at a time.
Yeah, that's what I got to do.
Yeah.
I basically just sit in this flat and, you know, I go and get my methadone, I come home and watch a bit of TV, that's it. But I've started counselling because you can't go into a detox until you do counselling.
Yeah, they want to see that you're actually doing it for yourself. You want to do it.
Yeah.
If you don't want to do it, it's never going to happen.
I do want to do it because it's just wrecking my life. Using ice, I mean, I don't do it every day, but once a week I might inject 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
Once a week. So it all adds up.
So just stick with the counselling for now.
Yeah.
And when they feel ready, they'll put you in.
Yeah.
But you just got to keep yourself busy.
Yeah.
So doing things with the men's group is a really good way.
Yeah,
Because you're out all day.
I go to mindfulness on a Thursday.
You probably know my parents. Janelle and Pete.
Yeah. The names ring a bell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're my parents and they're both users as well. Yeah. So I've grown up with it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing, I never touched the shit. Never. I've seen how people have destroyed their lives with it.
Her mum and her dad are heroin addicts, and she's had to live with that, you know, her whole life. Yeah, she lived with her nan and that, but you know, that's her mum. Where should you be? You should be with your mum. You grow up, you watch your parents, you see it, and she was able to say, "No, that's not what I want to be like." Give it to her. Not a lot of people around here can do that.
Remember handing the cupcakes? I always dreamt of being a fighter pilot as a kid. Ended up doing the test when I was like 17, 18, and that's the G-force test, and failed miserably because of my asthma, so that was a shattered dream. I think sticking with hospitality, it's not exactly what I pictured, but I'm really good at it, so. There's a whole bunch of people that work. They live in public housing mainly because, yeah, they work, but they just can't afford a house. Like, it's ridiculous, the prices, like, even out west. I think it's more of a safety net. They're not all blodgers. Hey, Misha.
Hi.
Can I put the lights in your window?
Lights? Oh, yeah, you can
Yeah.
put the lights in the window.
Thanks, Misha. I can reach that.
It's going to be hard to get to.
Got it, Misha, don't worry. It's all good. Hey, Misha.
Yeah?
You got no power?
No, I haven't had it for 4 years. Oh, it'll be put back on soon.
Yeah.
I just got to
Bring a big wooden spoon and gong someone over there to wake them up. Hey!
Wake up!
Oh, I better start cleaning up again. It's getting to look a bit ratty-tatty.
Misha, how are you living without power?
This little stove and battery-operated torches and just getting used to the dark. I suppose if a blind person can do it, us people who can see can just... You can use minimal lighting, it just takes a while for your eyes to get used to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll have a bit of a blast at the CEO from AGL.
Misha, I'm going to call up and I'll find out electricity to turn it on for you.
All right, that's good.
Okay.
So I'll watch movies and then cook with the stove and have the fridge on and the hot water service will work. That'll be cool.
Oh, me too. I'll see you later. Do you want the door closed?
Yeah, no, it's all right. Open it.
What do you see when you look at yourself?
I see an old man. I often think to myself, is that my grandfather?
Despite his illness, Richard keeps pushing the art project.
Fiona, Richard Weeks, we're here to brighten up your life with some lights. At the moment, the government is painting a picture of everybody living in Waterloo as either lunatics, drug addicts, alcoholics, or losers. They don't know the people here.
Fiona came to public housing 19 years ago, after her husband burned down their home and took his own life.
Oh.
We now have lights.
Oh, isn't that wonderful? Look at it.
Would you agree we're here by circumstance and not by choice?
It wasn't my case, certainly. I was extremely lucky to get a roof over my head after various adventures. And I'm eternally grateful for it.
Like many of his neighbours, Richard never thought he'd end up in public housing.
I met my wife when I was in the military. We were married in 1970 and then moved up to Queensland where we lived until she unfortunately was killed in a car accident. At that time, my youngest daughter, she was only 4 years old, and I had the two other daughters still going to school. So it was up to me then to become a mother and a father. And I raised my daughters. Since I retired, the only thing that stopped me from going crazy doing nothing was this action group. So in a way, the government did me a favour.
As lights flicker on, more and more neighbours decide to join in.
Okay, I don't know if we can do this. Hello, how are you?
Each encounter brings its own challenges.
Depend on my mood, you see? It make me feel better.
22 is on the road. Yeah.
We need help.
I ain't afraid of no ghosts. Grab that.
I don't want to show my feeling through colour.
Settle.
And moments of magic.
准备好了吗？
Very good, very good. Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. 等一下，你就去他那个地方有灯的，他等你的。
See, all the views. Yeah, because I was asking how much.
这个东西增加了活跃感，水活了，就像那个水活起来。我说对我来说感到活跃感，
是，我也觉得，
而且也增加了美观。
对对对，
它不是让人展示全世界的那种文明嘛，对吧？我觉得蛮好。
Just as Bex's new career as an artist is at its most demanding, another opportunity presents itself.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, hey. You've got a job.
Yay! This girl's a working woman now.
Yeah, next week I start.
High five it.
Yeah. Oh. Chef apprenticeship. Yeah. Shit pay, but good work.
It's the start.
Yeah.
It's the first step.
A job might just be Bex's way out of public housing. She decides to pay a visit to one of Waterloo's latest developments, 1 block from her flat.
Welcome. Are you looking for...
I'm looking 3 to 4 bedrooms.
Sort of 4-bedroom?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So, what's the starting price?
We have a very unique one on level 3 with a roof terrace, price 1.73 million. I do have the brochure for you. It's going to be finished in about 18 months' time from now.
So quick.
It is. Booming the whole area with a lot of attention from the new generation. Bright future, should I say that?
High five. What's that? Have a look.
No. Haha, they can still see us. Private rooftop terrace where you can still see the pool. Every surface and fixture within your North residence is exceedingly well made. What the tapas in a warehouse. Friday at 8 p.m. What the hell is this? Dank Street, Waterloo. That don't look like Dank Street to me. It won't have the same sense of community. The rich won't want to mix with us.
I know, but they're going to try and do that. And I don't think it's going to work.
This is my daughter, Zahara. She's my sidekick.
Zahara.
Yeah. Got to work for your money, sister.
If I had to defend this place, these are really nice little buildings. But now we've got the sort of the Meriton syndrome where you've got to have this and that and the balconies and stuff. So they knock them down. These are beautifully proportioned, small buildings. They could do with a refurbish, you know. The sadness is that sometime you've got to stop developing. There's cities in Europe, some of them are 500 years old, that haven't been dug up and demolished and modernised. The lights increase the presence of the building and make it look not demolishable, if there's such a thing. Cracking up like a worn-out shoe, getting wet and the world leaking through. I'd run, but I'd find no place. I'd laugh, but it's wrecking me. I don't think it's funny no more. Cracking up.
Well done. Waterloo often gets more bad press than good. Yeah, so a bit of good press is going to be great, I think.
Okay, guys, I'm recording.
Richard, how important is this project to the residents here?
The team begins to tell their story to the media.
We're joined by Carolina and Mary talking about the We Live Here 2017 campaign.
It's a really big discussion in Sydney around what kind of city that we want to live in.
Soon, everyone is talking about Waterloo.
In 2015, the state government announced it was selling off the 40 acres.
So the We Live Here project is planning to put mood lights in all the apartment windows.
The human face to Sydney's public housing communities while pushing back against the prevailing tides of rapid urban development.
The art project triggers a national discussion.
To some, Waterloo's twin Matabai and Turanga towers serve as a reminder of misguided social policies that create ghettos of disadvantage.
It's not the case. You know, there's a lot of really creative, fascinating people that have just had a little bit of bad luck. Public housing sort of needs to be there for everyone.
We really do have to think more clearly about decades and decades of bipartisan neglect, kind of political abandonment of the very principle of social housing.
Front page. That's Henry. Yes, I'm wrapped in it.
Oh, gorgeous. That's gorgeous.
Their artwork turns Waterloo's towers into a cultural hotspot.
Like, this is the kind of architecture that people adore now.
Right.
And the latest must-see for the art world elite.
And Wazza, how are you doing?
Thanks for having us here.
It's great.
Hello.
It's trending on Twitter right now, this thing. Yeah.
Not going down without a fight. They lit up their windows.
Over 500,000 Australians and countless viewers around the world see the towers and listen to the tenants' stories.
The towers come to life. They'll officially launch their Festival of Light on Saturday.
There you go. Wow.
No longer invisible, the We Live Here art project is now a real threat to the New South Wales government's redevelopment plans. They always wanted to be heard. Now they have the government's full attention.
I have no idea. I just got a text to be here.
A meeting?
A meeting.
An emergency meeting?
The artists have invited thousands to their launch on Waterloo Green. Events on public land require a government permit, and that is yet to arrive. The government objects to a video produced by the makers of this film on the art project's website.
So the original text reads, in 2018, Sydney's largest inner-city housing estate will start to be demolished.
They say the video exaggerates the number of tenants who will have to move, and they really hate the phrase hordes of developers.
Making way for hordes of private developers.
So what's happened is it's become a ministerial problem. The
government demands they take down the video.
Yesterday, we received a phone call, and the Minister's instructions were to shut down Saturday night light show.
I certainly don't agree. You should take it down. They cannot deny that they are putting people out of their homes. They are.
Are they trying to silence us because we're giving people a voice?
Yeah, of course they are.
Right, OK, well, do you agree with that?
No. But at the same time, let's get Saturday night out of the way without disruption.
How are they going to shut us down? What can they do?
If they even attempted to shut down Saturday, they have just blown this story up.
We could call their bluff and...
Well...
If they pull it down and they shut it down and they start controlling us now, then where does it stop?
Makes me want to scream even more, to be honest.
The reason why they're behaving the way they are is because they're shit scared that this isn't just a Waterloo Redfern issue anymore. This is an issue that's going to cost them election, and it's one of many issues. When you add them all together, it shows them for what they are, which is a government that has, you know, already sold $9.8 billion worth of public assets.
As leader of the action group, Richard speaks often to the government. He fears that unless they remove the video, the tenants may lose their voice in the redevelopment process.
It's like this. The way things are going, I've broken my word. But I gave them my word last year that I'd back off from them if they continue to talk and keep the door open. I need ongoing doors open to finish what we're doing here.
I don't know we're fighting anymore. I think we've kind of laid down and rolled over a bit.
In the end, they take down the video.
Redevelop, not demolish. Okay, so that one's fixed.
It's already gone viral. But it's the last straw for Jenny Munro. She quits the action group.
If they don't like it, that's more reason to be using the language. They're only a public bureaucracy. They're not the fucking mind police. Fuck them. Make them as uncomfortable as you can. How did the enemy become our friend? How did that happen?
Where do you stand on it, mate?
He's more concerned about his relationship with them than he is about the relationship with the community. Bad way to be.
I can go on the street and make a lot of noise. We can go on Parliament House, and maybe I could become a famous activist. But at the end of the day, I've achieved nothing. I only believe in fighting a winnable fight, or at least something where you can get an outcome. I don't want to bash my head against a brick wall for 12 months.
Wow.
Despite the split, We Live Here continues to run hot on social media, and first-time artists Mary and Bex face their critics.
Oh, Brad Williams. Looks pretty, but how about they use this creativity to get a job and disengage from the public teat?
Get these people out of there now. If they can afford to actively campaign against the taxpayer, they can afford to not have subsidised housing. Ian Graham, bulldoze the shithole.
Russell Stone, I thought you couldn't shoot up under those lights. Won't be popular with the residents. Fuck you, dickhead. That was, like, really rude.
In just 6 weeks, they've installed lights in over 300 homes.
No, it's just, you know, crow's nest.
Their artwork is visible from all over Sydney.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Wow.
And their story shared around the world.
It's the last of the mother installs.
With less than 24 hours to go, the government permit for the launch finally arrives.
There shall be light. How can I embarrass you, man? Look, hi.
Stop, they can't see you.
They can see colour.
Yeah, but they can't see you.
It's the big night. All eyes are on Waterloo. The launch brings out the neighbourhood in force.
The state Liberal government cannot ignore with each of those coloured lights that there is a person, a family, an individual that is living there that considers this place their home.
Well, personally, it's left a mark on my personal life, you know. Could have just sat at home and did nothing. I guess in a way this was like a stepping stone to push me as well. You're working so hard that you want to get out there, you want to do something that's going to fulfill your life.
I love it. Fantastic. The layouts are great.
Say home is where you find it. Will this place ever satisfy me? Now I'm down here living in the city with my friends and my family. My island home, my island home, my island home is waiting for me.
Every man should know, every man should know.
It's just pretty awesome to be a part of something creative and big. I love listening to people's stories. Yeah, it was awesome to see the transformation in the residents and kind of gives you that sense of hope.
Right?
People are trying to speak up. It's not just happening here, it's happening all over the world. The project was a good kick up the bum to say, wake up, Mary, you know, there's heaps that needs to be done.
They say make way for progress. Now we gotta clean up this mess, cause change is a serious thing. Just don't let it catch you while you're sleeping now. How we feeling in Waterloo tonight? Everybody say Waterloo. Waterloo. Say Waterloo. Waterloo. Say what we gonna do when the train comes through.
Not being a great passionate person for the arts, but I see the effect on the people. A year ago, you could walk into Matavai and Turunga building and it was doom and gloom. What's the point? They're all coming down anyway. We're all being kicked out. Now you've got people talking about a future. It's doing what we're doing here for the community is what keeps me going.
Speak up, reach up, where's the leaders? Step up, no rulers.
We are being assaulted on all sides in our community with all the developments going on at the moment.
The times we are in is critical to tell our own stories.
I'd like to see them extended for as long as possible. Just that light show. It's the only visible evidence that we are resisting.
Yes, the root.
The pulse of the place in that visual form of the art, you know? It's still healthy here. Regardless of all that they've tried to do to kill that pulse, it's still here.
Fallen ones they know we don't forget. One hand in the air, it's deeper than respect. Let's do this for the fallen ones they know we don't forget. Stay strong, you man. Keep fighting the fight. See you later.
Before it was transformed for the block, the Gatwick Hotel was a home for the downtrodden. Next week, meet the complex characters who call it home and the two incredible women holding it together. The documentary premiere, Gatwick, The Last Chance Hotel.
Tomorrow on ABC kicks off with Hard Quiz.
Let's play. Hard.
Of the internet, people still fail to realize that real life and internet are not the same, are not the same, are not the same, are not the same.
We are anonymous. We are legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Anonymous. We are legion. Anonymous. Expect us. We are anonymous.
Freedom of speech is all of the small choices you make daily that you don't even think about. Most people respond that freedom of speech.